come before his presence with singing.
Come before his presence with singing.
Know ye that the Lord,
Know ye that the Lord,
he is God.
is God.
It is he that hath made us,
It is he that hath made us,
and not we ourselves.
and not we ourselves.
We are his people,
We are his people,
and the sheep of his pasture.
and the sheep of his pasture.
Enter into his gates
Enter into his gates
with thanksgiving,
with thanksgiving,
and into his courts with praise.
and into his courts with praise.
Be thankful unto him,
Be thankful unto him,
and bless his name.
and bless his name.
For the Lord is good,
For the Lord is good.
his mercy is everlasting,
His mercy is everlasting,
and his truth endureth to all generations.
and his truth endureth to all generations.
I read Psalm 100, verses 1 through 5. May the Lord add a blessing to the hearing and the reading of his word. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now we will have selections from the choir. Choir, another round of applause. And as always, I'd like to say good afternoon, sons and daughters of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And as always, it's a pleasure to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day to give honor and glory to the God Most High. And those who don't know me, I'm Brother McKinley. I'll be the teacher for today. And this time of year, we always hear Merry Christmas, peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Jesus is the reason for the season. Especially this time of year, these are the phrases that we hear all the time. This is the time of year when the whole world celebrate what they call the birth of Jesus, our Lord and Savior. So today's lesson is Christmas, holy, jolly, or just plain folly. And folly is foolishness. A lot of times people, if you've been here long enough, and once people find out you don't celebrate Christmas, they ask you why. Most believe because it is the birth. It's not the birth of Jesus. The whole world acknowledges, they understand that it's not the birth of Jesus. But they always make excuses for it by saying, well, you know, it's not, we know it's not the birth of Jesus, but it's what it symbolizes. We honoring Christ. Or we do it for the children. Or, you know, and the Lord know our heart, and that's the problem. The Lord do know your heart. So we're going to look at this thing a little differently today, because that's not why we don't celebrate Christmas, because it's not the birth of Jesus. That's just the least of it. The reason we don't celebrate it because the Lord tell us not to participate and indulge in paganism. And Christmas, and most people get mad when we tell them this, and they can research it, they can look it up, they can find it. It all has pagan roots, pagan origin. From the winter solstice, from the Santa Claus, the Christmas tree, the Yule log, the mistletoe, all of it stems from pagan worshiping. And the Roman Catholics, in an effort to bring in more pagan worshipers, they brought in a lot of their worship customs and traditions. They brought them all in to try and bring in more people into the church. So all this stuff stems from pagan worshipers. And we got to be careful, because the book say there's a way that seemeth right to a man, but the end thereof is death. So in their mind, they think they're doing the right thing. But the end thereof is death. And especially this time of year, it's harder and harder for our children, because this thing is forced down their throat. Through in school, when you go out shopping, even the streets, I was going up Elvis Presley the other day. Every 10 or 12 posts, I saw a little snowflake on the sign. And it's worse than Bartlett. I guess they got more money, because when I go home, they on every post. All kinds of stuff. But they force this thing down our throat. So let's look at Christmas. Now we're going to start this in Exodus the 20th chapter. Because like I say, the whole world is inundated with this, what they call Christmas spirit. But we're going to see what spirit it is. But this is just a quick little research I did on Christmas. Christian festivals celebrated on December 25th, commemorating the birth of Jesus. December 25th had already been identified as the day on which Christmas would be celebrated. And it was celebrated in Rome by AD 336. So the December 25th was already slated for a day. They just put the birth of Christ on that day. During the Middle Ages, Christmas became extremely popular. And various celebrations of the holidays were established because it's changed from time to time. The practice of exchanging gifts began in the 15th century. The Yule log, cakes, and fir trees derived from German and Celtic customs. So all this stuff comes from the Gentiles. The Gentiles brought all this stuff in. Christmas today is regarded as a family festival with gifts brought by Santa Claus. As an increasingly secular festival, it has come to be celebrated by many non-Christians. And I was reading something that was sent to me the other day about Christmas. There was a lawsuit brought by, I think it was in Virginia, by some people who wanted to take Christmas out to school. However, the court ruled that they could not take Christmas out to school. They could take the prayer, the Bible, but they couldn't take Christmas out to school because the court ruled that Christmas has nothing to do with Christianity. So they lost that case. That's why Christmas is still in the schools. You know, because they argued the separation of church and state. They say, well, Christmas has nothing to do with Christianity. And Christmas trees, as you all didn't know, are grown in all 50 states, including Hawaii and Alaska. In the northern hemisphere, the shortest day and the longest night of the year falls on December 21st or December 22nd, and it is called the winter solstice. December 22nd is when it fell this year. Media room, could you? Because what happened is a lot of people was afraid of the dark. So they celebrated the light. They celebrate the sun. This Christmas festival is not celebrating the S-O-N. It's celebrating the S-U-N. And we're going to show that. And this is the thing about the winter solstice. Look at the tree, the sickle, Frosty the Snowman. It says, happy winter solstice. The tree with the balls on it, all that's for the light. That's why the little Christmas balls on the tree, for the light. And people still celebrate that today with the lights and the festivals and all that stuff. Well, that's where all this Christmas stuff comes from, the winter solstice. Because people was afraid of the dark, so they would celebrate the coming back of the light. End of the short days, the coming back of the long days. But the whole world is inundated with that thing. But like I say, we don't celebrate Christmas because the Lord tells us not to. So let's take a look right quick what the Lord commanded us not to worship other gods. Exodus 20, we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 20 and verse 1. 21. Go ahead, brother.
And God spake all these words, saying.
And this is God speaking. This is God speaking, not Moses speaking to God. This is God speaking to Moses. Go ahead.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
He said, I am the Lord thy God that have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of bondage. Go ahead.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
He said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. No other gods. He don't want you giving his honor and his glory to nobody else. Especially some fat man in a red suit and a red and white hat He don't want you giving. Oh, that's the wrong hat. That some fat white man in a red and white hat talking about he gonna take care of you. He don't want you giving his honor to nobody else. He said he's the God he wants you to worship. Go ahead, brother.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
He said don't make any graven images, and there's a reason why he said don't do that. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them.
And you should not bow yourself down to these false gods and serve them. And one thing people don't understand, even with that Christmas tree, that's why they put those presents underneath. When the kids see, they run down, they see that tree, they got to bow down and get it. The Lord said, don't bow down to no false God, especially gods that is no God. But go ahead.
For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
He said, I'm a jealous God, a jealous God. So he said, don't make don't make no images, and don't worship any images, and don't let your children do it, because I'm a jealous God, and he would hurt you for it. Let's go to Exodus 22. 22. We read one verse 20. See what the Lord said he would do to those that worship other gods. 22 and 20. Go ahead, brother.
He that sacrifices unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed.
And the Lord said, if you sacrifice to other gods, as you worship other gods, you should be utterly destroyed. And he's talking about that eternal death, that lake of fire. That's what he do. That's what he'll do too. So that's why we don't celebrate this thing, because the Lord told us, don't do it. And while we're over here, let's go right over into Exodus 23 and 13. 23 and 13. Exodus 23 and verse 13. Go ahead, brother.
And unto all things that I have said unto you be circumspect.
He said, in all things I say, be careful, go ahead.
And make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth.
He said, don't even make mention of any other gods. Don't even let it be heard out of your mouth. Now, people think when they come up to us and say, Merry Christmas, you get it all the time. All the time. If you don't say nothing back, they think you're being snooty or stuck up. We're just trying to be careful. We don't get caught up in that, because sometimes you don't be paying attention. They say, Merry Christmas, you know. Or you might slip up and say, Merry Christmas, you know. But you don't say, they think you're being snooty. Or at the Christmas parties, you don't show up. You stay at your desk working, or you keep working. You know, they think you're being antisocial. But we're trying to be circumspect. We're trying to be careful. But we don't get caught up in this thing. We don't get caught up in this thing. Did you finish that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but let's go farther. Let's go to Exodus 34. and 10. But this thing is all through the book where the Lord said, don't deal with no other gods. Even so, until he made a covenant with the children of Israel about this thing. Exodus 34 and 10. Go ahead, brother.
And he said, behold, I make a covenant. Before all the people I will do marvels, such as have not been done in all the earth.
So he told Israel, I make a covenant, and I will do marvels that has never been done before on earth. So people will know that I'm the true and living God. I'm the only God. Go ahead.
Nor in any nation, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord. For it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee.
And the Lord said, it's a terrible thing that I'm going to do with you. I'm going to do some terrible things to bring you out of Egypt. And all the other nations are going to know that you serve the true and living God. So we're supposed to be bringing other nations out of this foolishness. We're not supposed to be getting on board with them. We're supposed to be bringing them out. But go ahead, brother.
Observe thou that which I command thee this day.
He said, observe that which I command you this day. Do the things I command you to do. Keep my Sabbath. Keep my commandments. Keep my dietary law. Keep the feast days that I laid out for you. Go ahead.
Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the
He
Jebusite.
said, because I'm going to drive all these other folks out from among you that do all this pagan works because you don't get caught up in their foolishness. He said, I'm going to do this for you. That's just how much the Lord don't want us dealing with this thing. But go ahead.
Take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither thou goest.
He said, I'm going to do it. He said, but take heed to thyself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. So he said, that's why I say be careful. Because you end up going to these Christmas parties and everything and start drinking that spiked eggnog. And before you know it, you got on one of them hats and you staggering around there singing, Jingle Bell. He said, so be careful. Take heed. That's why we stay away from this. We're not being antisocial. So I don't know about you all, but when I go to work, I don't go to work to hang out and party and I go to work to work. Because when payday comes, I want my check. I don't want to be no misunderstanding. I don't want you to come to me. Well, you know, Wednesday you came in, you said, and you just talked, and y'all was in the break room around the water cooler all day. No, that wasn't me. It wasn't my check. I want all my hours. Then you know, we got smart people that want to be like the Pharisees and Sadducees. Come this time of year. You don't celebrate Christmas. Now, so, well, you don't want your bonus check, do you? Y'all want my bonus check? It's not a Christmas check. It's a bonus check. Even if it was a Christmas check, I'm going to cash it. You know, something in the meantime about y'all don't want my, because I don't celebrate Christmas. Now you think I'm a fool. It's a bonus check for doing good work. It's not a check because it's Christmas. You know, I'm not somebody just walked off the street and you gave me a bonus check because it's Christmas. But we have to be careful and try to avoid this thing. I know some jobs you cannot, because some jobs they have, especially the customer service type job where you have certain clients, and your job throw parties for their largest clients, and they expect everybody to be there. But that's when you really got to be careful and walk around there like you're walking on eggshells. But the Lord say, take heed. Take heed. And that's why he moves all these other nations from around. But go ahead.
Bottom of 12. Lest it be for a snare in the midst of thee.
He said, because it'll be a snare in the midst of you. Before you know it, you'll be caught up in this thing. You'll be down at Walmart at the last minute trying to buy gifts. And your rent not even paid. That's how they got this thing all twisted up. But go ahead.
But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves.
And the Lord say, destroy their altars, break their images, cut down their groves. And if we went in captivity, what we supposed to do? We see them Christmas trees, we're supposed to go kick it over. But now all we can do is just don't bring it in my house. I mean, one time we was at my office up the street, they don't put Christmas trees up no more. They used to put up the Christmas tree in the conference room. I guess they thought I was knocking it over on purpose, but I did trip over the plug. But that's what we're supposed to do anyway, go by there and knock it over every time we walk by there. But we can't do that because we're in captivity. But like I say, we can't keep it out of our house. But go ahead.
14. For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God.
He said, worship no other gods. That's why we have to be careful, because God is a jealous God. And it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the true and living God. Because he can do some serious damages to you. Not only in this life, but the life to come. You can't escape this guy with death. You know, you do something, the Lord said, don't do that. Oh, I did it. I better go kill myself. Next thing you know, he waking you up. Hey, get up. You wake up. Oh, I thought I got away from you. It's not that easy. Not that easy. Go ahead.
Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land.
Go ahead.
And they go a-whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods. And one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice.
He said, so be careful. Be careful. Or before you know it, you'll start doing sacrifice to these other gods and eating of their sacrifices. You'll be sitting around that Christmas dinner with that Christmas ham on the table. And we're going to see how the Lord feel about that too before it's over. We're going to see just how the Lord feel about that. But go ahead.
And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a-whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a-whoring after their gods.
He said, you get mixed up with these people, then your children get mixed up in this thing and start transgressing what the Lord say do. But go ahead.
Thou shalt make thee no molten gods.
He said, don't make no molten gods. Because God is not an image that you can make. He said, you just should honor the true and living God. Let's go to Psalms 95. Psalms 95 and 1. But that's why we don't do this thing, because the Lord commands us not to do it. You just don't want the children to have no fun. You taking Christmas from the children. We're going to see we're going to show what they're actually doing to the children. Because the Lord says worship him and him only. Go ahead.
O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation.
The Lord said, let us sing to the Lord, make a joyful noise unto him. Sing. You sing, but sing unto the Lord. And not all this Christmas stuff. I know it's hard. I was on my way to church. I had to turn the radio off. My hands was getting tired changing stations. And I couldn't find a CD to put in, so I just turned it off. That's all they do. Play that stuff all day long. But go ahead.
Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with songs.
He said, let us come before his presence with thanksgiving. Give honor and glory to the true and living God. The true and living God. And besides, these songs that they playing on the radio, they don't morally strengthen our children. Santa Claus coming down the chimney. So what? It's okay to do a B&E? It's okay to break and enter in somebody's house? You telling your child as long as you come through the chimney? I mean, how is this teaching your children anything? Or I was listening to the radio the other day. I turned off. I saw Mama kissing Santa Claus. And it would have been a sight if Daddy had seen. So what the little boy wanted to tell Daddy? Dad, I saw Mama kissing Santa Claus. But Daddy got to perpetrate the lie. Oh, boy, your mama loose. She a floozy. Now the little boy all confused. Now he run to mama. I saw you kissing Santa Claus. And if mama tried to clean it up, oh, that wasn't Santa Claus. That was Daddy I was kissing. Then the boy said, well, little Johnny next door saw his mama kissing Santa Claus. So was that Daddy too? So so these sons, they don't teach our children nothing anyway. And I know when I was celebrating this thing for my kids from Neil, she's 25 on down, she have never had a Christmas. I'm glad this thing was over. I'm working all week, 7 days a week, overtime, get money to buy them gifts, and then Santa Claus and brought me this. And Santa Claus ain't worked one day for this. I'm going to tell them Santa Claus ain't brought you nothing. But you got to perpetrate, you got to go along with this foolishness. Like they say, we do it for the kids. But go ahead.
3. For the Lord is a great God, and a great king above all gods.
And he's the great God. He's above all God, all these false pagan gods. But let's go farther. Let's go to right on into Psalms 96. Let's see why we should honor the only true and living God. Psalm 96, we're going to pick it up at 1. Because the Lord is worthy to be praised. 96 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, sing unto the Lord a new song. Sing unto the Lord all the earth.
And go ahead.
Sing unto the Lord, bless his name. Show forth his salvation from day to day.
And that's what you do. You sing unto the Lord. Sing praises and songs unto him because he's worthy. Thank him daily. Thank him daily for his salvation. Go ahead.
Declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all people.
And this is the perfect time of year to declare his glory to the heathens. And heathens are the non-believers. And you know they're non-believers because they're following this stuff. They say they believe and they know the Lord, but they don't. And it's the perfect time of year. You know, and the way to do it is just by not participating in this stuff. By not participating in it. And besides, when we stopped doing this thing, my kids didn't miss out on nothing. They didn't miss out on nothing. By the time Christmas came around, the other kids getting there to my kids already had it for 3 or 4 months. Let me tell you something else about with the small tribe my wife and I raised. Everybody know we got 7 kids with all small little tribes, what we learned over the years. The kids don't care if they get a toy on December 21st or June 1st, as long as they get it. They don't care if they eat mama potato pie on Christmas or any time of the year. They don't care if they get out of school for Christmas or in August. They don't care. So they're not doing it for the kids. They're doing it for themselves. They the one want to go to those parties. They the one that want to go out and buy all this stuff. It's the parents that's doing this. They the one who want to go out and do all this stuff. And they just put it on the kids. They the one that try to sneak under mistletoe. That's not benefiting the children. But where are we?
4.
Go ahead.
For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods.
And he is great. He is greatly to be praised and to be feared above all gods. Because those other gods can't do nothing to you or for you. They can't help you or harm you. They can't do nothing for you. Go ahead.
For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens.
All the gods of the nation, all these other nations that come up with all these other gods, this sun god, moon god, monkey god, chicken god, all these different gods, they are nothing. And we're going to show that. Go ahead.
Verse 6.
Well, we're at 6. Skip to 8. Skip to 8.
Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name.
So give to the Lord the glory due unto his name. But he created you. He the reason you woke up this morning. Not Santa Claus. The Lord is the reason. The true and living God is the reason you woke up. Go ahead.
Bring an offering and come into his courts.
I'm coming to his courts. And don't give his praise and glory to no other God. But let's go to Deuteronomy 17. Well, it's just a tree. The Lord know my heart. Yeah, that's the problem. He know your heart. You can fool me all day long. You know, we used to have a guy, the guy used to do our roof. He used to pretend, because he was being paid, that he was into this stuff. He kept getting work from us. He pretended he was into this stuff. Well, yeah, I don't do that Christmas thing no more. You know. Because I be listening to Bowie. I be calling Bowie, talking to Bowie personally. He got me straight on that thing. I don't do that Christmas thing. That thing ain't right. I don't do it. And he lived out in Bartlett. I went over his house and wanted to fix his computer. Had the biggest tree I ever seen up in there. I walked past like I didn't even see it. Because you're not fooling me. I don't care what you put in your house, a tree, a donkey, a cow, whatever, it's you. That's your house. I don't have to live with you. So the Lord know your heart. But Deuteronomy 17:1. Go ahead, brother.
Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So he said, when you give to the Lord, give your best. Give your best. Don't slack. And don't present nothing to the Lord that is ill-gotten. And don't present nothing to the Lord that is slated for evil. And think you can stamp the Lord's name on it and it's okay. The Lord said, no, you can't straddle the fence. You can't serve me and this pagan stuff all at the same time. You can't come to Christmas dinner with a box of matzos and think it's okay. You know, that don't clean up. A little dirt is the whole glass of water. You got to decide which side of the fence you're going to be on. But go ahead, where are we?
2.
Go ahead.
If there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, that have wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgressing his covenant.
So the Lord says, there's anybody among you, this is how we're supposed to do these things. There's anybody among you inside your gates that has transgressed the Lord's covenant. What the Lord say do to him? Go ahead.
And hath gone and served other gods.
And hath gone and served other gods.
And worshiped them.
And worshiped them.
Either the sun.
Go ahead.
Or moon.
Go ahead.
Or any of the host of heaven.
No, go ahead.
Which I have not commanded.
He said, and worship the sun, S-U-N, or the moon, or all this other stuff that I have not commanded. That's why the Lord said he didn't want to make no images of this stuff. He didn't want you getting caught up. And the Lord is commanding Israel this because Israel know better. They know what the purpose of the sun, why the Lord made the moon, the stars. They know those are gods. And they supposed to be teaching the other nations. If the other nations that were supposed to been fascinated by this stuff. And we supposed to tell them, oh, man, that sun ain't nothing. It's just for heat. It's a greater light to rule the day. Man, serve the true and living God. That sun ain't going to fall off that sky and burn you up. Tell the Lord's ready for it to. We supposed to know better. Go ahead.
4. And it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel.
He said, you check it out and it's true. What? Go ahead.
Then thou shalt bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and thou shalt stone them with stones till they die.
And Lord said, if they do that, and this is how this thing's supposed to have been. When somebody's turned away from the true and living God, or they go after these do this foolishness and serve all this paganism, if we were still in charge, that's what we're supposed to stone them to death. The Lord didn't say, no, put them in the gas chamber. Give them a humane death. No, stone to death? That's a horrible death. Being bust upside the head with bricks. You know, stone them to death. Yeah, the Lord cleaned it up. Actually, they busting you upside your head with bricks until you stop breathing. That's how serious this thing is to the Lord. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter. And see why the Lord say don't make no images of him. Why the Lord didn't show you his image. Deuteronomy 4, we're going to pick it up at 12. Deuteronomy 4, we're going to pick it up at 12. Go ahead, brother.
And the Lord spake unto you out of the midst of the fire. Ye heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude, only ye heard a voice.
So when the Lord spoke to the children of Israel, he didn't show his image. All you heard was his voice. The Lord didn't want you to see it because he knew. He knew what would happen. As soon as he left, they would have been down there trying to make little images of him. Go ahead.
And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And he wrought them upon 2 tables of stone.
So when he came and he wrote and he gave the 10 commandments, he didn't even show his image. Go ahead.
And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go over to possess it.
So Moses said, the Lord told me to teach you his statutes and his judgments so you can do those things when you go into the land. not the things of the people of the land. That's when he moved them out. Go ahead.
Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that the Lord spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire.
The Lord said, remember, you saw no similitude of him when he came down. There's a reason. It wasn't no mistake that the Lord didn't show his similitude. That was on purpose. Go ahead.
Lest ye corrupt yourselves, and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female.
The Lord say, because he know man, he said, the first thing you're going to do is corrupt yourself, and you're going to go out and you're going to make a similitude of him. And put it on the cross and bread be wearing around your neck. The Lord knew this, so he had to warn against this, but go ahead.
The likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air.
He said, not even no beast in the earth or any winged fowl that flies in the air, and especially no man in no red suit. Go ahead.
The likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth.
He said, so don't worship no graven image, no matter what the image is, a man or beast or fowl or fish, anything. Go ahead.
And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun,
you see the sun, the S-U-N, go ahead.
And the moon, and the stars,
go ahead.
Even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven.
He said, because they look up and they see the sun and the moon, they start to worship that instead of the true and living God. The Lord knew this. So that's why he warned us against this thing. He said, don't worship all this stuff. But he said, don't worship, don't get caught up in this thing. Don't get caught up in that thing. And those Christmas balls, as we show, and the wreath, and all, that's why the wreath is round. All that stuff represents the sun. All that stuff represents the sun. And the star, what's on the top of the, and we're going to show that on top of the tree, what they put on top, a star. And they walk up to the tree and they look up at the star on the tree. Ooh, that is so pretty. Then they bow down and get a present from under it, or put a present under it. We're going to show what all that stuff is about. We're going to take a look at it. But let's go to Leviticus, the 20th chapter. Leviticus 20 and 1. And just take a quick look at what you're doing to the children. Since you're doing it for the children. Leviticus 20 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel.
And again, this is the Lord speaking again. Go ahead.
Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones.
He says, so if any other children, so that's what so if you get your children and turn them up to this pagan worship, back then, they used to offer their kids up for sacrifice. I mean, physically, throw them in the fire and burn them, sacrificing them to different gods, well, to Molech. But now, they know now they'll be put in jail for that, so they can't do it now. But so now what they do, they still sacrificing their children to these false gods, having them bow down to the tree. Get up there, looking up all up the tree, the lights, and looking up at the star, then bowing down to it. But the Lord warned against that. He told them about that. He said, they also shall be stoned. He said, stone them also. But let's go to Deuteronomy 32. And like I say, them children, they don't care. You could change Christmas to March 1st. They don't give a hoot. As long as they get their presents and some time out of school, they happy. What I say, Deuteronomy 32
Yes, sir.
and 16. 32 and 16. Go ahead, brother.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
And God's warning is when he said, I'm a jealous God. And they provoked him to jealousy with these strange gods. Go ahead.
With abominations provoke they him to anger.
An abomination. He said all these things, this worshiping all these false gods and all this stuff. He says it's an abomination. Go ahead.
They sacrifice unto devils and not to God.
And they sacrifice unto devils and not to God. But they think they honoring the Lord's birthday. They think they doing something that's holy. You know, holy. Somebody told me one time, well, they trying to take the Christ out of Christmas. I said, now what they did, they put the Christ in Mass. Christ didn't go to Mass. Then the crazy thing, I'm secretary at the office the other day. The outside break, you walking around here. You see, you don't mind working because I worked yesterday. She wants to be out because she wants to go shopping. You don't mind because see, you done took the Mary out of Christmas. I said, was never in it. Mary and Christmas. Well, at the birth of Jesus, you say you worship you believe in Jesus. It's his birthday. I said, that ain't got nothing to do with his birthday. I said, and that wasn't a day to be worshiping. Have you read what happened on that day? And she wanted to get into an argument with me and discuss it. And it was just so foolishness. You know, sometimes they be talking so foolishly. You just want to whip and do the nay-nay and walk off. That's just to wake up some of you that done dozed off. But sometimes it just gets so crazy, you just, you know. But where are we?
The middle of 17.
With the middle of 17. Go ahead.
To gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not.
And these new gods, these are gods that we used to worship, that we used to celebrate. Go ahead.
Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful.
And of the true and living God, there's unmindful. And that is evident because they don't keep his feast days. They don't keep his Sabbath day. They don't keep his commandments. But they keep all this stuff he commands them not to keep. But go ahead.
And has forgotten God that formed thee. And when the Lord saw it, it abhorred them.
And when the Lord saw it, he hated it because they forgot the God that formed them. The Lord, the true and living God, is the one that made you, not these false pagan gods. And we're going to see that they could take some stone and metal to the goldsmith. He make an image, and they go, "This is the God that saved me." But he said they forgot the God, and so the Lord hated it. He had hated them. Go ahead.
Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
Because of the provoking of his sons and his daughters. Because you done turn your children over to this foolishness. It provoked the Lord. He hated it. He hated it. Go ahead.
And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be.
You know, the Lord said, I will hide my face from him, and I will see what their ends will be. And we're seeing what the end of this thing is. Like they say, this time you're supposed to be holy and jolly and happy. But what happened during this time? Robberies are up. Breaking and entering are up. All kinds of crime. Domestic violence is up. And I guess it should be. The man working all day, barely making the bills, and he come home and the kids and the wife, what for Christmas? I mean, that makes you want to punch somebody. I'm not advocating violence, and I don't go home punching nobody. Because I don't do jail visits if I don't have to. And I don't put money on books if I don't have to. But I'm just saying, it'll make you, that's why all these crimes, house fires are up. I'm the news. My house caught a fire, burned up all my prayers, all my kids' prayers. My kids ain't going to have no Christmas. That's a blessing. You should be rejoicing. Should have took that money and paid off some of them bills anyway. Another thing that's up in my office, we do bankruptcy. It's come January 5th, it's so, if we can't even get them out fast enough, people trying to get rid of them debts that they didn't have to get in the first place. But the Lord said, I would turn I would turn my face and I would see what their end would be. But go ahead.
Bottom of 20. For they are a very froward generation, children in whom is no faith.
But they have no faith. If they had faith in the Lord, they wouldn't be giving honor and glory to some other man that don't do anything, that didn't do anything. Telling his children, this man is the thing that, he's the one that made this possible. He's the one that got this gift for you. When you were asleep, he came down the chimney. And I always wondered about that. I said, well, one thing about it, if Santa Claus go into every house in the world, he must be white. He hadn't been arrested yet. You know, if we try, first house we go into, clink, clink. Then like, and he going every, even North Memphis, South Memphis. I don't even go there at night. And this man could go there in an open sleigh, full of gifts. I'm talking PlayStation, the new Jordans. And he don't get jacked. Come on, people. We know all that stuff will be in the beauty shop next week. Yeah. No. Yeah, we know that. So the Lord say they have no faith because they done put their faith in somebody else. But go ahead.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God.
He said they moved me with jealousy with that which is not God. Go ahead.
They have provoked me to anger with their vanities.
That's all it is, vanity. It's worth nothing. It don't get you no closer to salvation. It get you farther away from it. That's right. Go ahead.
And I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people.
He said, I move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. That's why we're chasing after the Gentiles now. Go ahead.
And I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
He said they provoke them to anger. That's why we walk around so mad all the time now, Israel. Why the white man got everything? He got everything. I ain't got nothing. Then we get mad because we mad. Why I'm mad? Because I'm mad all the time. You know, but the Lord said he would do that. Go ahead.
22. For a fire is kindled in mine anger.
He said, a fire is kindled in my anger. Go ahead.
And shall burn into the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundation of the mountains.
He said, it says, burn it, set on fire the foundation of the mountain. That's how much the Lord hates this thing. And he don't want us fooling with this foolishness. And I tell people, that's why we don't celebrate Christmas, because the Lord don't want us to. He don't want us giving his glory and honor to nobody else. No other pagan gods. And that's all this thing about, this Christmas thing about the sun god. The winter solstice. And this Saturnalia, this was a pagan festival also that they had that where they would just go out and it was a day of lawlessness. The courts was closed. So they can just go out. The more prominent citizens can just go out and get somebody, a man or a woman, do whatever they want to do with them. Then when it's over, the cops would come, the authorities would come and get this person and arrest this person and kill this person, and they're supposed to be killing all the sin. Now, they didn't abuse this person, and then they're going to kill him, and that person didn't do the sin. The people that attacked the person did the sin, but they get away. All the sins is put on that person. What that sounds like. But that's the festival of Saturnalia, honoring Saturn. Look it up. Look it up. But let's go farther. Let's go farther. Because they say they're doing it for the children, they bow down to this. But Lord said that bows me to anger. You know. But let's go to Jeremiah 10th chapter. Let's go to Jeremiah 10th chapter and look at this tree. Let me read this little thing right quick. Long before the advent of Christianity, plants and trees that remained green all year had a special meaning for people in the winter. Just as people today decorate their homes during the festive season with pine, spruce, and fir trees, ancient people hung evergreen boughs over the door and windows. In many countries, it was believed that evergreen would keep out witches, ghosts, evil spirit, and illnesses. Now, they celebrated or worshiped these evergreen trees because all other trees, the leaves would die, and those trees were still alive, so they thought they had some kind of special power. So that's what this Christmas tree stuff come from. But Jeremiah 10, and let's look at what the Lord said about that. A media room. You know, some people say, when they read this, Jeremiah 10, well, you know, they're not talking about Christmas tree. They're talking about totem pole. They talk about totem pole, not Christmas trees. So let's see, because we got a totem pole on one side and a Christmas tree on the other side. Let's read this and see what we're talking about here. Jeremiah 10 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
Hear you the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
And this is the Lord speaking again. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
So the Lord said, don't be amazed at the sign of heaven, the stars, the moon, the sun, and all that stuff. Now, totem pole, it doesn't have, it's usually with animals. And what that totem pole generally represents, it's supposed to be the spirit of the person or the character of the person and the different animals that person represented. That's why it was stacked on top of each other. And it wasn't always made out of evergreen trees either. They would carve it. They would take the tree and they would carve it. They would carve those images into that totem pole. But go ahead.
3. For the customs of the people are vain.
People are vain, go ahead.
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest.
They cut a tree out the forest.
The work of the hands of the workman with the axe.
The work of hand, a workman with an axe. So they would come, they would get the tree, they would cut it down, go ahead.
They deck it with silver and with gold.
And they deck it with silver and gold. The totem pole decked with anything. It's just painted and carved out and painted. But look at the tree. You know, I know when I was growing up, they had the little silver stencils or tinsels thing they would throw in there. Then you would wrap this gold thing around it. That's how we used to do when I was a child. But go ahead.
They fastened it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
And you ever looked at now you could buy the Christmas tree stands, but they used to make a little cross at the bottom and nail it to the cross. But on the totem pole, they didn't fasten it at the bottom. They would carve out the little stand. They would carve out the little stand. That's how it would stand up. But go ahead.
They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not.
They're upright as the palm tree, and the palm tree is an evergreen tree. It's upright, but they speak not.
They must needs be born, because they cannot go.
They need to be born. You got to take it wherever you want to go. When they cut that tree down, wrap it up, they take it in the house. When they set it, it stay until they don't need it anymore. Can't go nowhere. Go ahead.
Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good.
But the Lord said, don't be afraid of them. See, people used to worship this thing. He said, don't be afraid of these false gods. They can't do evil or good. You're not going to sleep one night and that Christmas tree come in your room and smother you. Or you're not going to go to bed one night, there's no food in the refrigerator, and that Christmas tree go in the Kroger's and get you a refrigerator full of groceries. It can't do evil or good. But go ahead.
For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might.
He said, there's none like unto you, Lord. You're great and your name is mighty. And it is, because he is the true and living God. But go ahead.
Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doth it appertain. For as much among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee.
And there is none like unto God. There's no other God, nothing you can compare the Lord to. Go ahead.
They are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities.
And the stock or that tree is a doctrine of vanity, because it's vain. It don't mean anything. But they get that thing, they cut it down, they deck it with silver and gold. He's talking about that tree, not that totem pole. He said, they're talking about they're talking about the totem pole. They try to, any kind of way to justify this thing. You know. But that's why I tell people, read, get some understanding. Research, see what this stuff is about. It's not hidden. It's there for you to see. Go ahead.
Silver spread into plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz, the work of the workmen, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of cunning men.
They're the work of cunning men. Go ahead.
But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God, and an everlasting King. At his wrath the earth should tremble.
Then if the Lord's wrath, the earth tremble. All these other false gods, they're the work of hands. Man done made them. Man made them. They can't do anything. But the Lord, he's the true and living God. He's the everlasting King. Go ahead.
And the nations should not be able to abide his indignation.
Go ahead.
They should say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they should perish from the earth and from under these heavens.
And all these false gods, they're going to perish. They're going to perish away. And that's exactly what's going to happen. When the Lord come back, all that stuff going to be go away. But that Christmas tree, at the end of the season, you're going to go down the street. They're going to be all on the side of the road. You know. They're going to be ready to be picked up and turned into mush. But go ahead.
He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by his discretion.
Now this is the God we should serve, because he is the true and living God, and he is powerful. But skip to 14.
Every man is brutish in his knowledge.
But every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every man is foolish in his own knowledge. That's why the Lord said, lean not to your own understanding. Go ahead.
Every founder is confounded by the graven image.
And every founder is confounded by the graven image. They make this thing, and then they start believing in it. Go ahead.
For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them.
But that molten image is falsehood. There is no breath in them. They don't breathe. But the Lord that we serve, the Lord that we honor, is the true and living God. Go ahead.
They are vanity and the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish.
At the time of their visitation, they shall perish too. But these trees ain't worth nothing. They didn't bring this stuff in, because the Lord says it's an abomination. They go and cut these trees down. They didn't bring these things in the churches. They didn't bring it in the church. Let's go to Jeremiah 32 and pick it up at 33. They bring these things in the church, have Christmas morning service and all that kind of stuff in the churches. And since it's falling on a Sunday, you know they're going to be crazy with this thing now. You know, and everything going to be shut down. Everything going to be shut down tomorrow, and it should be shut down today. You know. Well, 32 and 33. Go ahead, brother.
And they have turned unto me the back and not the face.
The Lord said they turn their backs to me and not the face. Because they're not looking at the Lord. They turn looking at all this paganism. Go ahead.
Though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, yet they have not hearkened to receive instruction.
Lord said, yet I taught them, but they won't take heed. They won't listen to instructions. They want to lean on their own understanding. They won't do what they want to do. Go ahead.
They set their abominations in the house, which is called by my name, to defile it.
He said, they set these things in the house, and then they won't call it by my name, and they defile it. They defile in the house of the Lord with this Christmas tree and all this foolishness. But go ahead.
And they built the high places of Baal.
And they built the high places of Baal. These altars to these false gods. Go ahead.
Which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Molech.
And then they sacrifice their children to these false gods. So that's why I say you're doing these things. You talk about you're doing it for the children. This is what you're doing to the children. Go ahead.
Which I commanded them not.
And Lord said, I told you don't do it.
Neither came it into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin.
Lord, it's an abomination to me. And it's sin. And that's why we don't do it. That is why we don't do this thing. But let's go farther. Let's go farther. Let's go to Ezekiel 28. Let's go to Ezekiel 28. And read about old St. Nicholas here. St. Nicholas flourished 4th century in Myra, Asia Minor, and those are all the Gentile nations. Feast day, December 6th. Minor saint associated with Christmas, probably Bishop Amira. He was reputed to have provided dowries for 3 poor girls and saved them from prostitution, and to have restored the life of 3 children that had been chopped up by a butcher. So this guy's supposed to have been able to resurrect somebody. Even Satan can't do that under the law.